Well, today is April the 2nd. It's about 1700 hour. It's not particularly warm out, about 40 degrees. I'm not comfortable at 40 degrees. And I decided to just kind of take a step around my own stomping grounds and look, look at the I just looked over and saw that. Look at the big X. Look at the big X. Okay, so let's just go take a look. Let's take a look and see. I was sitting here thinking I was going to make a video and just talk about some things, but let's take a look. Well, it's positioned nicely. I guess the big question is, does this happen naturally? So, obviously, it's probably been here for a while. There's moss on it. Yeah, well, let's see. Was this an old tree? Just a rotten young tree? Which I think it is, actually. I think it's got roots on it. And then, and then we have this, which, it's been here. It's very possible. It's very possible that this is just a natural thing. I mean, it is. I mean, truth be told, it is. I'm not going to jump on any conclusion. If they, particularly that one there, looks like it was a live tree at one time. And well, they're both kind of rotten, as you can see. But it is interesting, It is interesting. And it's very possible it's a natural formation. There's no question about it. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not going to say it was placed there by anything large with human hands. What's interesting, though, just listen. And maybe you hear this little twittering. There is a massive amount of kinglets moving through this forest. You see there's one up there. I don't know if they're ruby crowned or yellow crowned. I don't have any binoculars to check, but they're up in the canopy and they're up on a low and they're everywhere. And that little twitting, and there's one right over there. See him? Now he's on the ground there. I guess this would be a good teaching moment. Whoever's watching this, wherever you live, and you have a forest by you, you're going to have different animals. You're going to have different birds, and they're going to change per season. You got to know what is there, and during the various seasons, if something's migrating through, something's not migrating through. Where I'm at, we don't have any. There's no large predators. There's nothing bigger than a coyote. There's no black bears here. There's no. The largest thing is white-tailed deer. And there may be the occasion, even though bobcats are pretty rare, even where I'm at standing right now, recently there has been some sightings of bobcats. I do know that for a fact, just a few miles south here. So there's probably bobcats. And that's probably the biggest, most terrifying thing here. Well, recognized thing. So I guess what I was trying to say is that if you're Don't be unfamiliar with what lives where you're at, whether it be mountain lions, bears, wild hogs, whatever. You need to be aware of what lives there and what makes and the sounds they make and when they're active. And believe it or not, everything has got its own particular sound. An armadillo rooting around in the ground is going to sound very different than a possum walking around or a raccoon. I'm not familiar with armadillos digging in the ground, but I have friends who are. So, because not every branch that breaks and not every sound you hear is going to be the big guys. And now that flock of kinglets must have moved through. And it's always quiet. It's always quiet here. I've never known this place to be noisy at all. And I've made a video before of when the woods go silent. And I don't know what it's like to be in a noisy woodland, except for in Florida. But this is the first week of April is usually the first push of neotropical migrants on their way north to their breeding grounds. Hence all the kinglets. I've never seen that many kinglets, ever. So that was kind of a treat to see. I've seen a few smattered here and there, but I've never seen a large group of them moving through an area. And now that they moved out, it's dead silent. But I thought I would just kind of show that X and make a few comments about it. And like I said, I mean, I think it's natural. I think those two things kind of fell over. But I just pay attention to it. Pay attention to the things that don't look naturally formed, so to speak, if that makes any sense. Now, if I came here at night, I could promise you. If I came here at night, I could promise you some interesting video. I promise you. Now I just heard a large limb snap to my right. It's not particularly windy. Maybe I'll walk towards it, see if anything interesting happens. I'm not going to say anything profound here. I don't think I have anything to say that's really profound. Sorry about that. I've been trying to put, I'm putting together something that'll be of interest for some people to hear, but I have to get my thoughts together and actually write them down because there's quite a bit to it. Let me address this as best as I can. There is so much fear mongering in this interest. As people start to understand that these beings are alive and well and living next door, so to speak. I know right now there's probably somebody watching this to be too terrified to walk in alone, even in the daytime like this, once you realize they're real. You don't really have any reason to be fearful. You are getting hyped up by a lot of stuff because you really don't understand or you don't really know. And the truth is, we don't really know. I will say this, what we really do know is we as human beings are brutal to each other. But that doesn't stop us from going into the largest urban centers in the world and walking around. Because in the back of our minds, we think our fellow human beings are not going to hurt us. But if you really look at the odds and the statistics, our fellow human beings are going to hurt us. So, walking through a forest, even if you were just walking your dog, and you know that they're there, they're not going to jump out, grab you, make you disappear. They're not going to do a 411 on you. Way too many people think that's what's going on. Oh, it's missing 411. That's what's happening. It's all fear mongering. You're reading into stuff that's not necessarily there because you really don't have the evidence. You're just making an assumption based on what you think is what you think is happening. But the truth is, I can pretty much guarantee that the majority of all those missing 411 cases are not from these guys. That there are other aspects that are at play. It's not just them. There's other things and other weird stuff. And regardless of what people think, it's just the truth of the matter. But don't let that stop you from doing what you like to do. That's what I want people to understand. Go out there and enjoy yourself and do what you like to do. Don't let don't let the fear mongering get hold of you. Oh, I forgot what bird that is. Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. And that's why I came out here. I really did come out here just to check and see what kind of birds were flitting through the area because it is April 1st. I hope you can hear that. And I know what that bird is, but it's escaping me at the moment. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. All right, I think this is probably a good time to let go. If there's anything else of interest, I will film it. Till next time.